Well, the hurricanes blew everything else off the map for a while, but now the Russia investigation is dominating the headlines in just an absolute gusher of leaks. Day after day now, sometimes 2 or 3 a day. Robert Mueller's office seems to be, let's say, enjoying a cooperative relationship with the press. A lot of this has to do with Paul Manafort. Manafort told that he could be indicted, that he probably will be indicted. Manafort wiretapped. What does that mean for the investigation? Also leaks about White House being asked to produce documents about President Trump's actions in firing Jim Comey and firing Michael Flynn and other things that are at least related to the Russia probe. And all this creates a challenge for the president that goes beyond simply fighting back, battling what he has called a witch hunt. And it reminds me of what I went through and what the media went through almost 20 years ago when Bill Clinton found himself being impeached over a very different kind of scandal, to be sure. But what people remember from 1998 is Monica Lewinsky, the sex, lies, I did not have sex with that woman, and all of that. But one of the ways that's kind of forgotten now that Bill Clinton survived that scandal and a media frenzy every bit as intense as what the 45th president is going through today is that he tried and to some extent succeeded in generating a lot of news that was completely unrelated to the Ken Starr investigation, to the grand jury, to the sexual allegations which turned out to be true. And a lot of times these were relatively small issues, for example, school uniforms and something then was called a V-chip, to enable parents to control what their kids were seeing and not seeing salacious content on television. It all seems very archaic now in the age of YouTube, as well as things having to do with the economy. And often Clinton aides would tell me that those stories might end up on the inside pages of papers, that it got to people. They knew that in addition to what Clinton had done with Lewinsky, people did not approve of that. It was an utter display of immorality and exploiting a former White House intern. They had the impression that he was still working on their issues. And a lot of people took the approach that, you know, I don't like what Bill Clinton did, but that's between him and his wife. And all I care is whether he's producing results for me. Now, the challenge for Donald Trump is the things that he is working on. I mean, we have tax cut legislation that he'd like to push through this year. We have the negotiations now again in the Senate over a final attempt to revamp, certainly not repeal or replace, but revamp Obamacare. These can get overshadowed because the press loves scandal. The press is getting a lot of leaks from Robert Mueller, maybe the congressional committees. You know, it's no secret that much of the mainstream media not exactly friendly to Donald Trump, and so the scandal is a story that's not very hard to sell. Particularly when you have an investigation, you have revelations, you have disclosures, you have subpoenas, you have witnesses, you have wiretaps. It's all pretty sexy stuff compared to, say, the drip, drip, drip of, well, they could have 48 votes for Graham Cassidy, the health care bill in the Senate. They've got to get to 50, all of the complicated details.